in terms of the bot lane. Olaf traditionally has been one of those hard counters to bot lanes like Jin, like Misfortune. So we might be seeing that coming out from Rogue Warriors and them placing more faith in Kellin.
Yeah, giving more AD carry options, of course, the Galio, the Olaf, things that can really hard stomp on things like Samira, which we see being picked first for the side of Team WE. And overall, just annoying champions. So Rogue Warriors definitely getting rid of them. They are going to lock in the Zoe as their first priority pick, giving Forge something that he's relatively comfortable on.
I do want to point out that this is a lot of respect given to Forge. The Yone, Akali, and Lucian, all of these will fall into the category of being Forge champions. So W definitely worried that Shanks, who had a pretty mediocre Demacia Cup, might get overrun by Forge's champion pool.
And if you have pocket picks like that, that's an asset to your wheelhouse that, you know, other teams have to be aware of. They can't just let that open, because if you run away with it, like you said, it's just going to become a huge issue for you in the late game. But you've given over the Samira and Alistar missing. We saw it again on the Demacia Championship. He looked clean on this Alistar. It's the perfect kind of support for this guy.
Yeah, and this is such a strong start from WE. That bot lane, if they can get something like a Talia, it's going to be very difficult to actually prevent W from just snowballing the bot lane out of control. So I think Rogue Warriors will have to throw some bans in that direction, try to take away the options right here. Kaisa is another champion that has been very, very popular. In fact, it's the most popular AD carry that we've seen throughout the first day and also through Demacia Cup. We just love playing around AD carries in the LPL. We've seen that a ton right here. And it's also interesting to see what Kellin can do, because he's the one that I want to pay the most attention on Rogue Warriors. We have basically no information on him, but Rogue Warriors, the organization, have been hyping this player up as the new trump card.
Kaisa is the lock, so we do see almost certainly the bot lane's locked in. We can see that Pantheon flex into a couple of different roles, so it is still very much something that can move. But Chocho almost certainly, in my opinion, going to be taking that one into the bot side to deal with the Samira and the Alistar. The bans are coming in thick and fast in phase 2. We do see themselves banning out the Ornn, the Malphite, the Aatrox, and the Camille. 4 top lane bans all across the board coming in here now to the second round.
This just goes to show you the contrast between Breathe and Ziv. Ziv is your fighter, your split pusher. He plays a lot of Camille and Jax. He was great on Aatrox. So they're going to be the more aggressive top side. While on the other hand, Ziv is known more for being a punching bag. He can absorb a lot of that pressure. So they're taking away Ornn and Malphite away from him.
Maokai locked in, and again, the flexes are still there between the jungle, the top, the support. We've seen Maokai in the top lane, of course, and as well in the support lane. Renekton going to be locked in, so they're going for that aggressive kind of all-in flanker coming in here for Breathe. And the Sejuani, wow, okay, Beishang bringing us back to a couple of seasons ago.
This is definitely not what we expected out of the jungler from Beishang right here. It looked like a very good, clean setup for the Talia, but they didn't take it. Talia has so many stuns to work with in the lanes with Alistar and with Renekton. That seemed like the go-to answer, but instead they're going to go for the Sejuani, a much more stable team fighting pick. While on the other hand, the counter pick into Volibear is going to be handed over to Ziv. That one is very strong scaling. You can win the matchup quite easily against Renekton. And, you know, to take a look at it overall, WE kind of backed off on going full on the gas pedal right here. They could have gone for Talia, gone for full snowball, but they're keeping something more reserved for the team fights. And I think Rogue Warriors is going to be pretty similar in matching them in that front.
I feel like with Team WE, you look at this, the Sejuani pick was, we need reliable engage. We need more than just an Alistar. We need more than just, you know, a Scatter the Weak. We need something, you know, kind of else to kind of jump in there and to back up the Alistar or to back up the Renekton. So I'm not against the pick. I just think, like you said, there is a lot. It's not very meta is probably the best way I can put it. But in the LPL, we don't care if it's meta or not. As long as it works, it does not matter. And again, these two teams, very standard if we talked about Team WE's comp, but for the side of Rogue Warriors, this screams pick comp to me.
It definitely does. They have a lot more dynamics in terms of the Zoe and the Pantheon, good mix of damage right there, and the Kaisa can follow up on that Pantheon ultimate as well. We've seen a lot of this coming in from the Demacia Cup. I like this build from Rogue Warriors. They're going to be the more dynamic ones, I would imagine, and I think they're going to be able to start a lot more ruckus in the early game.
All right, Clement, looking at these two teams, looking at the two compositions, who are you favoring coming into this first game?
I will say that I think W's composition is just a little bit easier to execute on. They do have the triple front line in the front, and very easy to snowball lanes. You hit level 6, you go bottom. Samira might find a couple kills. You can kind of just win the dragon fights off of that. While on the other hand, I think this matchup is really about Haro and Forge, their duo. How strong are they going to be placed in the LPL? Can they crack the likes of Shanks and Beishang?
Ladies and gentlemen, we are on to the rift for Team WE versus Rogue Warriors. It's good to be back, Clement. It's good to be back. And with a live crowd and all, the Gyos coming in strong for the second day of the LPL spring split. And having a look down at the runes and masteries, nothing really too untoward, realistically. The only kind of thing that I would say is a little bit different maybe is LaForge on the spell books, looking for a lot more utility rather than just all in engage.
And on the hand of WE, we can see that they have a very passive setup, running double cleanses on their carries right here. They're not really looking to get things going in terms of the early game, want to survive the laning phase, and just get to those Drake fights where they are going to have the superior front-to-back team fight.
Forge taking a very, very unfavorable trade right at the start. Has got the corrupting potion, so should be fine. But again, so we talked about how, the Sejuani was a very interesting pick. And tell me why we don't really see the Sejuani picked as such, coming into kind of 2021 with the meta where it is right now.
So we were seeing a lot of carry jungler picks, the likes of Hecarim and the likes of Talia really pop up all over the place. With the junglers right now, you don't have to spend 650 gold into the jungle knife item anymore. So it's much easier to rush for first item mythic. And just taking a look at this bottom lane trade, really good level 2, but not much going to come out of it. I'm going to continue on my jungle tirade, but basically with the ability to reach mythics for early, a lot of the junglers have been going on the damage route, and the dominant composition that we saw in Demacia Cup actually was the jousting comp, where you have something like Camille Galio, you rush in, you pick out the target. Sejuani really isn't that. Sejuani is much more about sustained frontline into a team fight. So it's the first time we saw her in the LPL this new split, and it's also the first time we are going to see her in the Demacia Cup too.
And that was a nice little move there. We talked about how she is very much a traditional kind of front-to-back team fighter, but you have to respect that early damage that you have from the Syndra, as well as the early combo CC you can get from both the Syndra and the Sejuani, forcing out the flash from Forge. He needs to play even more defensive now coming into these kind of early game skirmishes.
And I do want to point out, maybe they have practiced this. You do get a small knock-up from Sejuani's Q, and that does allow the Samira to follow up on those ganks. So maybe this is something that they have thought up before, and that CC chain combo is going to be very deadly in the bot lane if they can get it to work.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of combinations you can put in here with the Samira. It's kind of the new Yasuo, I guess, with all the knockups you kind of like build around it as such. But for Jiumeng, needs to make sure. We haven't really seen the best Samira plays overall. It seems like she was coming into this year as a must-pick or ban. Definitely still a must-pick, but teams kind of have figured her out just a little bit as we kind of saw that through the first 2 series yesterday.
Yeah, I think yesterday Cole did an amazing job on teaching us how to shut down Samiras. You really have to hold your crowd controls in team fights. Once she starts that Inferno trigger, you want to have her crowd control and stop that channel immediately. And if you do, she actually loses a lot of her potency, isn't able to get all the extra lifesteal, and her damage goes down quite significantly as well. And she also is a champion that does need a bit of a snowball. Very slow range, relies on resets a lot of times for her combo. So she is a bit risky of a pick, and I think teams have started to figure that out by countering her through hard crowd control and just focusing down her lane.
Overall, very slow start to the game. And this is something I noticed yesterday, specifically in the EDG OMG series. We're not seeing the explosive, everyone all in at all times coming in from what we usually expect from the LPL. In fact, it's been quite a tempered early game, and I feel like that is in due part to the fact that mythic items are so powerful right now. And if you're even, a couple of 100 gold behind your laning opponent, they get their mythic and you don't, you're in a world of hurt.
I think it definitely is a case when, you know, everything is down on the line, but let's watch this trade up first.
Oh, so close for both the top laners. The minion wave's just a little bit too big, though, for Breed. He needs to be very, very careful. Both these top laners should be okay to back themselves away. Breed should be able to sustain off of these minions as well. So overall, nothing ventured, nothing gained. It's still very, very even up on the top side.
Yeah, good play by Breathe right there. Is able to dodge out on the E coming in from the Volibear. However, we have talked about this matchup. Volley outscales Renekton extremely hard. We have seen both the Divine Sunder come out for the Volibear, or even just going for the more common Sunfire Aegis in this matchup. Some people even build Frostfire or Gauntlet. We've seen that too in the Demacia Cup. So it's really free on how Volibear wants to take this matchup, and usually quite favored.
See Haro just kind of pushing himself towards the mid lane, showing himself a little bit off, saying, hey, how's it going? And they back themselves away. And the only real kind of significant advantage that we can talk about right now isn't that bot side, but given that it is an Alistar Samira, it is to be expected coming into this matchup. And the longer these games go, the more you build towards those team fights, that's where the Kaisa can really start to shine.
And I just want to note how Rogue Warriors bot lane is playing this. They're basically letting their wave push all the way into tower before they start the CS. They know that if there's a gank incoming, there's almost no way that they can survive that. And we have seen lanes playing against Alistar be very, very passive. During the Demacia Cup, there was a lot of level 1 flash Alistars. You get their summoners out, you use your Hex Flash for the rest of laning phase, and a lot of bot lane snowballs did start from that. So I respect what Rogue Warriors are doing here. They're just trying to play it as safe as possible.
And let's take I suppose, a kind of a step back and talk about these kind of two teams, as you know, they are some of the more, well, WE especially, definitely one of the oldest, if not the oldest organization in Chinese League of Legends history. And for WE, a good season this year kind of feels like it's been in the making for a very, very long time. They haven't really been at the top for a good few years now.
Yep, they've always, at least these two splits, they came in with a roster that, honestly, talent-wise, was probably not as strong as some of the top teams in the LPL here. However, they have been able to make it work with a very streamlined strategy. And that strategy was have Teacher Ma, have Morgan, constantly go bot lane, constantly try to snowball the Drakes, and they played off of that to a T. Now this split is when everything really changes. They can play through a lot more lanes right now. We're seeing Shanks come in and he's able to play a lot more control mages, able to play the Zoe and the Syndra, and not be really beholden to the rest of the map the way Teacher Ma kind of was. So we really want to see how they diversify their strategy and kind of play around the different points now. What we are seeing on the map here is Rogue Warriors going instantly for a objective trade. They know the Drake is gone. They're going straight for Herald. They are here first. I don't think W can contest this. They are a little bit late.
They are a little late. Beishang is about half health. There is the ultimate coming out from the Sejuani as the fight ensues, but it is the very, very lone Crocodile as now the Volibear jumps in with his ultimate to try and follow. It is a kill over the Rogue Warriors. They get the Rift Herald as well, but overall, I feel like you said, Team WE really had no real right to be contesting that.
Yeah, that was definitely an overreach coming in from Breathe. He just wanted to try and get a steal on the Herald. Wishful thinking, I would assume, and honestly, in that position, you can't contest Maokai in that choke. He just ults the way, and you can't get over the ramp. There's really not much you can do. Renekton was going to get caught off and focused no matter what, and I just felt like W should have been happy with their Drake and gave up the Herald.
Yeah, you trade. It's the simple League of Legends handshake that used to be Corki and Azir, but now is you get Drake for late game power, we get Rift Herald for early game power. That's kind of just how that one works. It felt a little bit overzealous, and we talked as well about how Rogue Warrior just has so much pick potential. Breathe is just by himself, and there's no one really to support him here. I just don't feel like it was, you know, anyway realistic to think that he could actually contest that. Clement, are you still with me?
Oh yeah, I'm still with you. I'm sorry about that.
You
cut
are.
off for a while. I was just saying, yeah, W, you know,
it's all
they
good.
have to go through that ramp, and Nature Scraps was in the way, so it was way too easy to just cut them off completely right there. Definitely think that was an overstep on their side. And now they just need to stabilize, and hopefully with Beishang's ultimate up, I really want to see the combo in the bot lane.
We'll have to wait and see, and I'm going to wait for production to 100% confirm with me that you are back on broadcast, just in case I'm just talking to myself, or rather the viewers think that I'm cut out. He is back. Thank you so much, Rose, our producer. The flash is burned on the bot side. QiuQiu needs to get himself out of harm's way. This Maokai is not very, very tanky when he gets himself caught. But again, kind of small little early game advantages you can see being creeped in by Rogue Warriors. They understand that they have the strength with the Pantheon, with the Zoe, that early game kind of single target burst you gain with the Paddle Star, and of course the single target CC you get as well. You'd be very, very careful. As I say that, Jiumeng just kind of jumps in on top of the Kaisa, understanding his limits, understanding that he was in no real danger, and gets himself a decent trade.
Does see the Pantheon on the map, so I'm clearing the ward down there. But I will say that was a bit of a missed opportunity from WE. They don't really get any of the important summoners out down from Kellin, and that is a very long cooldown on the side of Beishang going down. So this is going to open a lot of chances for Rogue Warriors to extend their lead and hopefully find a good use of that Herald now that they're up a ultimate.
And not a huge amount of mana here on top of Forge, but the flash and the pulverize means they're going to go for this full engage. Missing will, however, fall. There is the Maokai ultimate. They're going to try and see if they can lock people up. Forge just trying to back himself away. Goes golden as well. And they are able to take down the Sejuani, and Forge is still alive on the back end. Breathe did pick himself up a kill, but Forge takes down another just before he falls. Rogue Warriors coming out very much on top of this. It's a 3-for-2 overall. But now Rogue Warriors, they're in a little bit of no man's land. They're just trying to kite this one out. QiuQiu goes golden, but Pantheon cannot flash away. Now it's Ziv and Jojo versus Breathe and Shanks. Can they just stop them from getting out? They've got so much damage, but they haven't got the range to put it down. QiuQiu should be able to get out of this one pretty damn easily, and he will be able to get him back to safety. So overall, 3-for-3.
Yeah, love the force right there. They knew that the Sejuani ultimate was down. Instantly goes inside. We have double teleports come in, and you know, that fight was pretty messy overall, but we have to look at the kill distribution incoming from both of the sides. And I will say that this Pantheon is going to cause some trouble right now because he's 2-1-2, already has a Gore Drinker complete, and that is a point that I think Rogue Warriors will try to drive home with Haro.
You look across the board, you know, in terms of summoner spells, it's pretty much only Ziv who has got his flash available to him for this potential dragon fight coming up now in 10 seconds time. Both teams really want to get this one. You want it for Rogue Warriors to stop the dragon stacking, and for Team WE, this just puts a win condition, a very early win condition on for you, and that Rift Herald is going nowhere, unfortunately, for the side of Rogue Warriors. A little bit early to kind of get any pressure with it for the Drake fight either, so feel like this is going to be a given up dragon. They're not really in position to kind of go for this, but they're just inching themselves in. I think they're just a little too late.
Yeah, and they have no ultimates for this. It's going to be very hard to contest, but maybe they can get some exit kills.
The Skyfall comes in, but Haro's in no man's land and he gets completely taken down. Now the fight's very much in favor of Team WE as they chase them down. Ziv had his flash and now he doesn't anymore. He had to burn it to get himself out to safety. It felt like, again, another gentleman's handshake of like, oh, well, you gave us a free kill at Rift Herald. We'll give you a free one at the Dragon. No worries, guys. And they back away, Dragon over to Team WE, and now they have the stacking.
And WE in a very comfortable position. This is exactly how we said they should play their comp. You know, you have your front line set up. You're on the blue side, so you're looking at the double ramps. It's very easy to control people there. You have the Alistar, you have the Syndra pushback. The only way that Rogue Warriors could have entered those choke was actually just for Haro to faceplant into the middle of the enemy team. And, you know, if you're using that much just to get through those chokes, it's not usually going to land well for you after the follow-up. So a bit unfortunate right there. I definitely feel like both of these teams could play the objectives a little bit slower, be willing to give them up and just handshake on the resets.
Yeah, it feels like they're still trying to keep the essence of the LPL where we just fight over anything. But look at it, this was just a frame perfect, you know, ultimate from Beishang. As soon as the Pantheon comes in, he's able to stun him up and just get him down to half health. So even with the damage mitigation, it means nothing.
And that was absolutely beautiful coming in from Breathe as well. You know, he just sneaks up behind the Pantheon. That CC lock goes down, and there was no way that Haro was ever going to wake up again before he sees the gray screen. So well done on that part. And right now, I think WE in a very comfortable position. Their game plan is pretty much set in stone. We're just going to snowball the Drakes. You're going to have to come in, contest us. And for Rogue Warriors, they have to make this pick composition work. They have the Zoe, they have the Pantheon, but they haven't found the picks just yet.
Oh, speaking of picks, Forge gets picked off and deleted. Anything you can do, we can do better, says Team WE, and they are now starting to ramp up the pressure. Now we're starting to see the cracks form in the side of Rogue Warriors, because these are, they should have the pick composition. They shouldn't really be getting caught out like this. It's just going to cause them even more trouble later in the game.
Yep, their comp at this point can't really contest the 5v5, so they're getting pushed around the map right now. And I just need to see more out of this team. I think they need to find a couple more picks coming in with Haro, with that Gore Drinker. He can take a lot of damage. He can even chase targets into the tower quite easily. He doesn't get the tower damage immune, but with the lifesteal on that item, he is able to survive a lot of punishment. And the other, I would say, shining point for Rogue Warriors is probably still the top lane. Even though Volibear is down 3 kills, that is a matchup where if you get to 3 items, you can still kill the Renekton no matter what. It's actually quite an easy matchup for the Volibear to handle right there. So Rogue Warriors, they still have some outs, but right now the game is firmly in W's control.
I think for Team WE, especially when you say, like, just referencing the Volibear versus Renekton matchup, this is the time to strike. Strike when the iron is hot. You need to know that you'll have a Gore Drinker versus 2 half items from the side of the Volibear. You have the options to kind of go for these trades, go for these aggressive moves. You need to be the ones kind of pushing forward. Whereas, for the Rogue Warriors, they just need to kind of calm down, relax, realize that they're the ones that have the advantage coming into the kind of like, the later stages of that particular 1v1, and they can make things happen with the Kaisa and the Maokai as well once they become just kind of late game team fight gods. So overall, I think Rogue Warriors are going to be happy enough to just kind of play defensive. As long as they don't get picked off, they should be in a strong position to contest. Maybe not for the next dragon, but definitely for the 4th.
I like what Rogue Warriors are doing here. They're picking their targets wisely. Shanks is the easiest one on the map to hopefully get something on. They don't find it, and here comes Beishang.
Beishang is there, but also the TP coming in from Breed as Haro has to flash away, but he has not flashed far enough, and he will fall down. Rift Herald going to go down into the mid lane as well. 1 minute until the dragon, and Team WE, they want gold now. They want to reset, get themselves as strong as possible for this 3rd Drake fight.
And W are just winning this map out with all the patience. Look at their setup. They're playing something. They didn't go for the Talia pick, didn't go for a lot of early lane kills. Instead, they just sat in their lanes with cleanses, waited out whatever Rogue Warriors could throw at them. They have the wave manipulation now, and the 3rd Drake is coming up. 30 seconds. This is a perfect reset on their side. They're going to be ready, and they're going to be early to that objective. So, once again, Rogue Warriors, they're doing the right play, but they're also just getting punished because the rotations are coming in a lot faster on WE's side.
Yeah, and you can see this Haro just like overextending, not realizing where Beishang was, and he's just now in a terrible position.
I think that was a case of Haro. I felt like he misunderstood that Shanks. He probably thought that Shanks did not have his cleanse, or else that he wouldn't make that play. Because even if he landed the stun, I don't think there was enough like crowd control duration for them to actually pick up the Shanks kill whatsoever. So I see that as more of like a mistimed summoner right there. And W off the back of that, very easy 3rd Drake, not even contested.
And we talked about kind of the question mark that was, or that is, Shanks coming into this WE roster. Can he kind of fight with the big boys? Now, I'm not in any way saying that Forge is one of the big boys. That's reserved for Rookie and Knife. But overall, what's your assessment been of this, kind of relatively new mid laner coming into this roster, especially from this first game?
I think W does a very good job of protecting him in terms of the draft phase. And this is what we've seen. They usually give him counterpick, and they ban out a lot of those champions that are potentially can't snowball early kills onto him. So we saw this game as well. It was a triple ban onto Forge, and in the Demacia Cup, they were also constantly giving him counter picks as well. So it's kind of hard to say what his absolute strength is, but by the way that W are drafting so defensively around him, my guess that he's probably a little below average, and they want to keep him safe at all times.
Hey, if you're, knowing your weakness is kind of half the job right now, as we see everyone getting spotted out here, and then they might be in a little bit of trouble. They are being pinched in, so they wait for a little bit of support, but that's not going to happen just yet. They're going to jump straight on top of the Volibear. Ziv, however, had no support of his own. What turned from a 4v3 into a 4v1 so quickly. Rogue Warriors giving away another quick kill, losing the flash from Forge as well. It's just really overzealousness coming out from Rogue Warriors, and it's being hard punished by Team WE.
And you could tell that that just wasn't a coordinated pick. That was Ziv trying to go in and find something blind. Rogue Warriors did have the means to follow up with the Pantheon ultimate and the Killer Instincts, but they chose not to because they knew that if they did, that was just going to be more kills over to WE's side. Unfortunate, Ziv wanted to do a gambit and it didn't pay off. Way more members than he expected in their own jungle.
A lot quicker on the trigger, WE were, and now with Dragon up in 3 minutes, you've got plenty of space with all the outer turrets or tier 1s down now for the side of Rogue Warriors. Team WE have plenty of space to make aggressive plays like this, where they can maybe potentially contest the Raptor camp. They have a lot more options, but what I want to know is how do Rogue Warriors come back into this? We're seeing Team WE capitalizing on mistakes, and they're kind of ramping up to their power spikes of 2 items, you know, potentially before the 3 items come in for the side of Rogue Warriors. Where do Rogue Warriors want to see this game go if they want to come back into it?
So I think Rogue Warriors still have a shot just because of how brittle WE's backlines actually are. Both Samira and Syndra, they don't really peel for themselves. They're actually very easy to pick off in terms of these team fights. So if they could coordinate a backline dive, if they're able to bait out the cleanses and get a sleepy trouble bubble, it's very possible to just burst one of these targets down. But outside of that, they're kind of hopeless right now. WE's front line is just way too hard to crack open. And if WE position correctly around these objectives, they've got this Dragon Soul in the bag.
Oh, might be a pick coming in, but a great scat of the week just completely stops everything from the side of Team WE, and they're holding their lanes fantastically well. They're not making sure that Rogue Warriors can't get any advantages in the side lanes. They're making sure they're not getting caught out. Honestly, just from a positioning and kind of wave management point of view, this has been perfect for the side of Team WE. As I say that, Jiumeng!
Cleanse used.
Gonna be forced to cleanse, and he's gonna be... Oh, does he die? Yes, he does. There is enough damage there from the Kaisa. But Jiumeng, I just was praising you right there. How none of you were getting caught out. You were all doing perfectly well, and you had to ruin it. God damn.
I don't want to blame Jiumeng that much. Honestly, this is how Rogue Warriors composition is supposed to work. You can see that they had double globals falling up after that sleepy trouble bubble, and it's very, very easy to find picks like that straight before the Drakes. Unfortunately, in terms of this timing, it's not going to matter much. It's just 550 shutdown gold going over to Kellin, but Jiumeng is going to be able to, you know, revive and just come back to the Drake fight in time. However, he's missing double summoners. So what Rogue Warriors are basically banking on is trying to get the same play again on the same target.
Just a little bit later, as you said, just so they can contest for this soul, as it will be a Cloud Soul. Not the most impactful in the game, but definitely something that someone like a Renekton or a Sejuani can utilize very, very well. The extra movement speed to be able to reposition after you ultimate is actually very, very powerful on someone like a Renekton. And for someone like Samira, who's able to kind of pop it so quickly and just keep moving away and kiting in and out, is actually very, very powerful as well. So they want to be getting this as quick as they possibly can. 24-minute soul would be pretty nice for them, as Haro takes about half his health, or about a third. And overall, it feels like it's just Rogue Warriors. They're going to have to fight here. They don't really have a choice.
They're getting some good chunk damage onto the likes of Missing, and there goes Jiumeng.
Jiumeng has to go and try and fight everybody. It's a flash in from Missing as he goes with the pulverize. It's a great pulverize down, but with 2 quick kills, it's exactly what you said you wanted to see from the side of Rogue Warriors, Clement. They get themselves 2 quick picks, and that's almost certainly going to mean a dragon for them.
That was a bit unfortunate on the side of WE. I felt like they were still in a very strong position. However, Jiumeng being on that side of the map was a little bit weird. If I was reconstructing that fight, if I'm WE, I would actually be willing to sack that mid lane tower just to get the Dragon Soul. I feel like that's such a huge boon. You know, it's a constant buff that you have. It gives you the Elder earlier as well. And Jiumeng just kind of puts himself in a position that's very easy to pick up.
He has full vision. There's a pink ward.
Yeah, that was. I think
maybe the pink ward just went down. I'm not quite sure. I'll have to triple check the replay. But I feel like when your team is in the river and you're contesting over the dragon, you should have a 6 spidey sense to kind of say that there's probably people in this bush. Maybe I shouldn't walk towards it. And again, we talk about it over and over again, but the power, the pick potential coming out from Rogue Warriors is so potent and so prominent that if you get caught out like that without summoners, which Jiumeng had, because of course he lost it in the previous death he had, you're just dead. There's nothing you can do. You can try your best, but if your team aren't ready, you're just gonna die.
Exactly is the case right here, and I think Jiumeng has definitely learned his lesson. That was a situation where you definitely don't need to be mid lane, And right now, Rogue Warriors, they have bought themselves essentially 5 more minutes to scale up and meet themselves again. Taking a look at the items, Jiumeng is still somewhat ahead in terms of CS and the items on the AD carry position. And they still have a better front line. So if they catch Rogue Warriors out here in the open, this is a pretty free engage on their part. You're going in.
Oh, they're going to go in with a 2 ultimates burn there to try and get QiuQiu down. But here is the Skyfall. Here's they're going to go in. Rogue Warriors trying to replane them in. But look at the Forge. Look at Kaisa. Kaisa and Forge are untouched. They're able to try and free fall if they can get it. But like you said, the tanks of Team WE are just too damn tanky. They can't burn those health bars quick enough. They do pick down Ziv, and that means the Baron potentially could be on the cards here.
I don't really like what Rogue Warriors were doing. I felt like they were fishing too hard for picks right there, and they showed their entire 5-man combo right there, right in the mid lane. So it was very easy for W to just say, hey, we have the better front line, we're gonna rush in, and now they get Kellin too. So this is for sure gonna be Baron going over to WE.
Kellin just walked a bit too, got his hands caught in the cookie jar, wanted to pick up a little bit more vision, get a little bit more presence around in that mid lane, but unfortunately for him, he just stepped a little bit too close. Missing, however, needs to be a bit careful as well. Just needs to be very aware that there's a TP coming in. Baron is down below half HP. Ziv is here. The Pantheon is available. The Smite Steal is there. It's a level advantage to Beishang, so it shouldn't realistically be a 50-50. It is not. They throw in a couple of Qs, but nothing goes down. WE pick up the Baron.
That paddle star did get me gasping right there. We already have 2 items completed on Forge, and there was a real chance there that that Baron Steal could have gone over. Unfortunately for them, Beishang still had his finger on the Smite. Very well done by him. And they're just snowballing this map right now. What Rogue Warriors really need to do is they probably need to set up some sort of 2-man game in one of these side lanes. They can't be grouped up mid whatsoever. If they're grouped up mid and WC them, they're just going to full-on engage. So they have to have one of these side lanes pushed up. They need to find a 2-man game, most likely between Haro and Forge, find a kill that way, and then try to force WE into a position where they have to play a little bit more defensively.
And overall, apart from a couple of small, missteps coming out from Team WE, the Rift Herald, obviously they gave away a kill, Jiumeng getting caught out twice. It's been relatively clean from them. It's been relatively solid, and it hasn't really felt like they've been out of control of this game for very longer than a couple of seconds.
And these are the games that coaches really like, because if you look at the VODs, none of this happened out of skirmishes coming from the lane itself.
Oh my god.
None of this snowball was generated because someone was better mechanically than another person in lane. It was just very slow and steady play coming in from knowing that you have defensive lanes that you have to take care of early game, not pushing the go button when you don't have to, and just sitting on formations when you're strong. You have the composition for the 5v5, you just box out the enemy team correctly and force them to make the bad plays to come into you. And this is very E-Star-esque from what we're seeing coming out of WE.
Alright, 40 seconds now until this Cloud Soul point comes back up.
The solo lanes aren't here
Haro
for WE
is on the
though. They're fronting.
Yeah, I was going to say, and Haro is on he's in a bit of a backside kind of position. He could come in and try and find out Jiumeng. Missing and Jiumeng trying to use the best of this Baron buff that they possibly can. They realize they have no eyes on Haro. They're going to back themselves up. Now with the combination of their solo lanes, they feel a little bit safer. Beishang jumps in. They're going to jump straight onto Ziv, and he hasn't really got any kind of tanky stats. He has to ult away just to keep himself alive. They're jumping straight in on top of Forge. Great engage from Missing, and now it's a 4v5. It's a fight on 2 fronts, though. It's 3 in the front, 2 on the back, but now there's 2 dead, and the rest of Rogue Warriors have to back away. But with the Baron buff, they can take an inhibitor. They may be looking at the Nexus.
Shanks and Jiumeng were just completely untouched in that team fight. Once again, W know their team comp's win condition. Front to back team fight. We're going to engage on you whenever we see you. And Rogue Warriors just wasn't aware about that. They were showing all of their members right there, and it was kind of an easy call for WE. Just go straight in, nobody touches the carries, and they're going to snowball this inhibitor down and potentially just take away game 1.
They've got 10 seconds until Forge comes back on this Zoe, so it is still a little bit touch and go. No more Baron buff. They will take a Nexus turret, and they will back themselves away. There is a Cloud Soul awaiting them. Their lanes are in perfect position. You can see them pushed up right up to the tier 2s. But for Rogue Warriors, do they want to fight this? I think they kind of have to, really, don't they?
They kind of have to go in, but if you look at all the summoners, W really didn't expend anything to get that last team fight win. Their carries are still incredibly safe. How are they going to make it past the ramp? They aren't.
Oh, they are not, and that is going to be the Kaisa down. That is your biggest source of constant DPS dead in the water. Ziv dies again. He's up and he's down. 0, 4, and 5 on the Volibear, and they jump straight onto forwards. They're not done here. Team WE want to take away everybody's life. It is only the Maokai left alive, and with a bot wave pushing in, they're going to push themselves straight onto these inhibitor and nexus turrets.
What a clean game coming in from WE. It was an absolute statement on how they are going to approach this season. They're going to come in slow and measured. They're still going to incorporate Jiumeng, who was their biggest carry in the last season, and they're going to play around him in those team fights. So very well done by WE. None of this was based off individual mechanical skill. It was all about judgment, knowing your draft, and knowing your win condition. So WE just played a textbook game.
Calm, cool, collected. Team WE take the advantage in this best of 3 series, and I gotta say, I'm feeling pretty good. That again, like you said, textbook, clean, looked super, super solid from the side of Team WE. But for Rogue Warriors, there were moments of, again, similar to what we said when we were talking about this roster, flashes in the pan, but nothing was really sticking.
Yeah, and I think for Rogue Warriors' problem is that their composition was inherently more difficult to execute, and with Renekton